Hey, how you doing?
Hello, my friend.
Hey,
Kumusta?
¿cómo está? Wow, it's an honor to talk to you. Your At Large record was one of the first records that I picked up while I was in the Philippines. Phil Vio At Large, and then I got the
Yeah,
cassette when I came back here. But I've when it comes to your music, I've heard At Large, State of Confusion, uh, Third Offense, and Sikat ni Pedro, and I think
yeah.
Noon at Nagoyan. But I'm most familiar with your first few records. So how did your band start originally?
Well, uh, uh, the band was formed obviously by me and my brother Paul. We were a tribe back then. Uh, in the Philippines, we have this. Every punks group themselves to a tribe, and everyone represents a certain area in Manila. We were the Violators from Paco. We called ourselves the Violators. And we got that name from the Punk and Disorderly cover album. I used to have a t-shirt made with the Punk and Disorderly Final Solution thing. And my brother saw that. He saw one of the bands there, the Violators, and he thought, let's call ourselves the Violators as a tribe. So we went on it like that.
Damn.
And soon after, the tribe was abolished, and we were already we were both musically inclined, so it was inevitable that we would start a band right at that point in time. So I was already playing guitar back then.
Yeah, I've noticed with Philippine Violators, your progression of your instrumental it enhances over time. Like you guys even cross over into metal to an extent, and you have some really colorful solos. And especially with albums such as Balance, you just I don't know to compare you to Woods, but you guys have a more, how do I put it, um, less just raw and just okay. You know how the first Ramones album is just stripped down raw, no bullshit rock and roll. Philippine Violators, from what I've heard, as your
Yeah,
albums progress, you just took off to the moon practically. I mean, just to put it that way.
exactly, man.
Like,
Yeah,
what were your influences?
yeah, I'm very musical, my friend. I listen to a lot of genre, but mostly I like melodies because I was very much influenced by the Beatles. So I like melodies, and
By the Beatles?
if you notice, most of our songs have harmonies.
Yeah.
Bong does the high part, and I'll do the lower part, and harmonies. Even in that large, we were the first punk band to do that. Somebody told me you're the most melodic punk rock band in Manila. You guys do harmonies. Yeah, because Bong and I used my brother and I used to sing in our room. We we grew up in a one room house, and we used to do songs by the Bee Gees and the Beatles. Whenever we're bored, we sing a lot. You know.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. That's
And
that's what I
so
was just
music
saying.
was very.
And you said you were signed to a major label during like the 90s ish or the late 80s, not 90s.
That one, this Balance album was a major label release. That was
Oh, nice.
everyone was getting signed by then. Yeah, with the music scene just exploded in the 90s with the Nirvana thing and because the Philippines always look up to America for for
Influence?
trends. Whatever is happening to America,
Yeah, I know Smells Like
uh,
Teen Spirit and
uh,
Nevermind album by Nirvana was huge in the 90s. So, what was your relationship with Twisted Red Cross back in the day?
well, good. What do you mean relation? Well, Christian Records, I have a lot of respect for our producer back then. Told me because there was no precedent to what he was doing, and in fairness, he he treated us very well. He tried to give us royalties and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
And he was very. We were very spoiled back then, you know. You said Red Cross, aside from releasing our records, he Tommy Tanjako organized concerts for us. That Brave New World thing was
Oh yeah, I love Brave New World.
a collaboration between him and you know Tommy Tanjako is his influencer man who's under the government of Ferdinand Marcos at that time, so he can get so he could get that place in that Brave New World thing was held in somewhere in Pasay City. It is a government. What do you call this? I forgot the name. Well, it was a government sanctioned area, and his father has influence, so he could get that place for free, I guess. So that's where we held the Brave New World concert from time to time.
Yeah, Al De Malanta, Mel Maniego, and Arnold Morales, they told me about that. They told me about the first few Brave New Worlds.
Most fans bad mouthing Tommy Tanjako, but I tip off my hat to him because he tried to be fair as much as he can, and he doesn't have any prejudice on what he was doing. He was the first. There was no other label doing that thing at that time.
Yeah, that's what I've read.
So
he was the first to really do something to that level. As a TRC,
yeah.
I believe, you know, the first 17 punk rock cassettes, they're like practically cultural artifacts at this point. I know the Philippine Violators, I first heard at large, but dating back, you guys were first shown on the Third Bombardment cassette tape.
Yeah, that's actually our very first recording. At large is the first album, but the very first recording is the Third Bombardment, which features the founding members of the band. The Third Bombardment, so that's very important. Because at large, that's mostly me doing all the instrumental thing there. But the founding members was featured in the Third Bombardment with Seymour and Noel Bayaras on drums.
Do you
when that was recorded,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was already playing bass and Seymour out of the band already at that time, and it was just Noel, me, and Bong who did that whole album. It's large. Guitars and bass on that one. What you call Palagong.
I've noticed with the At Large.
Okay, you were saying?
With At Large, you said when you shared my video on Facebook, you said that you wrote the entire thing at the age of 14.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Jesus. That's a very powerful album for a 14-year-old to write, I'm just saying. Most 14-year-olds
I was very
don't...
intense at that age.
Yeah. Most 14-year-olds definitely are not talking about half the things that you wrote about on that album. So, was Twisted Red Cross...
You're the very first who...
What was it like being in a punk rock band when you were a teenager?
Well, it was pretty awesome because the scene back then was very different. It's something else. Like, aside from the music, the surroundings, and everyone in the scene is different, and everything is happening for the first time. If you get what I mean. So everything is excited. When you ride the jeep and you see someone with a Dead Kennedy's badge button or Sex Pistols button, it's very exciting. But you know that person and you go on. So just walking down the street and having someone notice you, it was exciting and dangerous both at the same time. We were always in trouble, you know, because we get bullied by different folks. I remember getting fights with some professors when we were walking in a university area somewhere in Recto. It's not the students who were bullying us; it was their professors.
Oh shit.
Imagine that. We fought back. Uh, or to the ground, yeah. We didn't care. We fought them back.
And I think it's one of the first songs on At Large. You talk about hanging the principal on a Tuesday afternoon. I love that song. School violence, school violence.
That's
Yeah, just about riding the school up. You have quite a few songs on At Large about hating school. You have school violence. Tomorrow's test. One a question that I actually asked June Ortega of GI this, but is Wonderful World of Trash, that song on your At Large, is that at all a reference to Fascinating World of Garbage by GI and Idiots, or does that have nothing to do with it?
it has nothing to do with it.
I was just wondering. Yeah, June said the same thing, but
I was actually watching a documentary, a Japanese documentary, one morning, and it was showing a big truck in Tokyo that every hour when it hits an hour, it plays the tune "Wonderful World of Just," and everyone stops and look at the clock, and somehow it holds their attention. That melody stuck in my head, so I tried to make a song around it.
yeah, you get the it's a small world
That's
after all.
the
Yeah, got that going on there. I definitely need to ask you about RMD, Rare Music Distributor. Your record label you came up with. Did you come up with that after Twisted Red Cross went under, or how did RMD come into existence?
That's my brother's idea. That's Bong's baby. We're music distributor.
Oh,
Because when TRC went kaput,
kaput.
we there was nothing happening in the scene anymore. You know, there were no longer concerts, and we still have songs. If we're not going to do this, no one's gonna do it for us. No major, the record companies would never touch a punk band, and much less a punk band like us back then. At that time.
Yeah,
So
that's how punk
decided
was
to
for the longest time.
put up the money for it. What
Oh,
we did was we borrowed money to our parents to produce that State of Confusion album.
I've got a handful of cassettes that were released by RMD. I'm trying to collect as many as I can. But I wanted to talk to you about State of Confusion, since it came out in 1991, about 4 years after At Large came out. I haven't heard the entirety of State of Confusion. I've only heard a few songs. I think I've heard about half of the album because it's really hard to find. But can you tell me about the making of State of Confusion?
The title track of State of Confusion, that song, was still recorded under Tommy Tanchanko.
Oh, it was?
I can vividly remember going to the State of Confusion song. If you can hear it, the quality is different from the other songs in the album.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
We recorded that in a good recording studio in his condominium in Ermita, the Martinez house. I still remember going there to record that two songs. So, State of Confusion and Crime was supposed to be the next to be released album under TRC, but
Oh, really?
eventually Tommy didn't want to do the label anymore, so
Yeah,
we
I've
got stuck
always.
with the song. And fortunately, I had a copy of those songs in a cassette tape. It wasn't a master, but it was a good copy, so it remained with us. So that's the one that we use to include in the State of Confusion album. There's two live cuts in that album. I'm Sorry and Sun City. That was taken from the most rare Phil Vio release, the Live at Seagull, the one that I told you about.
Yeah. I just bought Philippine Violators the Third Offense on the internet for about $30, which I can't wait to listen to it. I wish I have I've heard At Large a million times. I listen to At Large quite often. I've only heard At Large, Part of State of Confusion, Balance. I own Balance actually. Balance. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Balance, yeah.
Is that a Tagalog
Balance
word?
is the correct. Yeah. Balance is the Tagalog word from the word balance.
Yeah, I figured.
Because I was trying to balance the theme of that album. I put every music influence that I had from start to beginning. You got the hardcore Phil Vio there with songs like Itimang Kulay and Buhaya, and I also have a reggae influence because I'm a big fan of Bob Marley. I put Alam, which is a reggae punk rock.
Yeah, I can definitely
at the end of that album.
I can definitely hear the Bob Marley influence in there, because yeah, when I listen to Balance, I definitely hear a different sound than I do from At Large and State of Confusion. It's definitely not a softer sound, but like I said, a more colorful sound. Definitely a lot more colorful than the anger and the fury from At Large. It's like you guys, well, I mean it is 10 years later, but I guess matured up a bit and just expressed yourself in a different method.
Very much, because when I did At Large, I was in high school, I think, and Balance, I was already an adult. You know, I already had a job and a girlfriend. You know, I was living the life of an adult, trying to be an adult.
You can definitely hear the maturity in it, which I love it. It's a damn good album. I'm on Discogs looking at the record labels here. It shows here that The Third Offense was your last record on RMD. Is RMD still around, or did it tentfold?
No, it folded already.
Oh damn! How long did it last?
Yeah. I think around 1993 or 94 we're still releasing records. Because the main purpose is that really is not just to release our band's album, but to support the other groups that were around back then that, you know, could not release albums themselves. So we did a lot of compilations featuring other Filipino bands of different genres. Screams from the Underground, the Yellow cassette compilation, that's our first.
Screams from the Underground, yes. I definitely have heard of that one. Can you tell me about a band named Alienation?
Oh, those guys are my friend from New York.
Yes. I have their cassette on your label. Punks on the Loose, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Dave Dichter of MDCD on stage.
That's why I released that.
I haven't been able to find out any information on them.
The vocalist, Mike and I are good friends from the old days, you know, the tape trading days when everyone was still on snail mail. He's a correspondent of mine, yeah.
Are they Filipinos?
We used to exchange stuff, but no, they're Americans. And they're just like Philippine Violators. They're composed of two brothers, Mike Dickinson and Mark Dickinson. They're even twins. Bo and I are not twins, but those guys are. Mark Dickinson, the guitarist and vocalist. They're twins. Mike is now based in Canada, and Mark is still in New York.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out who they are.
It's in a cross band now. Yeah. They're my friends.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you for doing that.
I used to do a lot of correspondence back in the late 90s. You know, that tape trading scene back then. I used to write. I got their address from Maximum Rock Roll, and I wrote them, and they wrote back and sent me stuff. They sent me their first album, and that's how it started. And we were writing back and forth since then. I think that was around either 88 or 89, up to 99. We became good friends. He even has a Philippine Violators tattoo in his arm. That's how we got reconnected again.
Oh,
Because
love.
one day I was watching YouTube and there was this guy who looked like him, but I couldn't figure out because the band's name is Murder Squad. And so I tried to look for the arm, and when the video focused on his arm, I paused the video, and then there I saw the tattoo. So I
That's
identified,
awesome.
oh, that's Mark Dickinson. He's doing Crust now. He's in a Crust band, Murder Squad, Tio,
That's awesome.
Toronto, Murder Squad. And he's still recording. I tried to get in touch with him. Now we're friends on Facebook.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome news. Um,
I'm
another
a big fan.
another Philippine Violators album that I wanted to talk about. So, how long have you lived in the UK for? You said. Were you
Around
involved?
8 or 9 years.
Were you involved with the Philippine Violators album released in 2015 called Noon at Nagayan?
Yes, of course, man. Because first of all the songs there is still written by me.
Hell yes. I
That's,
actually have
and
heard that. I actually have heard this one. I wish I could find it, but it's really hard to find.
and like I told you, we used to go back to the Philippines every two
Yeah.
years when we were living here since 2011. And every time I'm on vacation, uh, I'll see to it that I could record some tracks. So I was still involved in that album, not ngayon. Still play guitar there.
That's why I reviewed your At Large album because I love your band. I haven't heard everything, but from what I have heard, I love Philippine Violators, and I wish I could have been there back in the 80s, 90s, and I wish I could have seen your band live, and I can't wait to meet you one day.
Thank you.
Um, uh,
And I love your review because for the first I was even telling my wife, for the first time somebody noticed my songwriting and you got every song bullseye. Because not even my parents know what I'm talking about with my songs. But you got it in one listen.
yeah, I picked it up at Middle Finger in Recto Manila, and I've spanned that record a bunch of times. And one thing I like about Phil Violators, I like the emotionally charged lyrical content from your album because yeah, you get political at times, but can't stand being exploited. I've related to that. You know, I'm tired of life or sick of life, things like that. When I was that age and even to this point, I suffer from depression, and I put on At Large all the time, and it really just it helps me express those feelings through there, and that's why I really love Philippine Violators because you guys are just fucking raw and you're just letting it loose.
Yeah.
That's like punk rock to its core right there, just letting it loose and ah, you know what I mean?
I tell you, man, that album launched 1,000 Pinoy punk bands. Even up to now, I still get messages in Facebook that, Senor, if it wasn't for that album, we wouldn't even form a band. After influenced us so much, so I'm
Yeah,
very proud of that album, my friend.
it's like an atom bomb. I mean, it's an emotional atom bomb. Like I said in my review, and I even told everyone this, like my generation, School Violence, those are like the lightest songs on the album because once you get to Can't Stand It Being Exploited, Freedom, just the rest of the way, it's just it just goes spiraling out of control and just an emotional rampage, and that's kind of just what keeps you going through it. Like it's definitely a one of a kind album, and I heard you say in your Facebook post that it's the most expensive and hard to find. Yeah, I mean Middle Finger sells it, but
I still get requests for that album to be re-issued and re-released, but
yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you for so long now. In my interviews, you might notice I don't have any questions written out. I just go naturally with it because I like conversations more than uniform interviews. Like, what's touring like? What's this like? No, I just like to have conversations with people. You know what I mean? It's better that way. Um,
Even in your review, I think that you're good that way. You know,
yeah, I don't write shit down.
spontaneous.
I never write anything down when I do reviews or when I do interviews. I just naturally go at it. There's one. There is
You know,
one.
you're quick.
There's one album released on RMD that I had a question about. I don't know if it's actually on the label, but did RMD release Plastic Surgery Disaster / And Got Away Dressed by the Dead Kennedys? It's the
Not really.
oh. Well, I bring it up
That's a dead
because
Kennedys. I don't think we did that. That's a dead Kennedys release.
yeah, no, somebody posted that it was a bootleg of it, but I was just wondering if you guys did, as a if you had a partnership with Alternative Tentacles or something like that, or if maybe if you were friends with the Dead Kennedys.
No, we don't.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I'm looking
No,
at your
I'm
list.
fine. Fine, that's
I'm looking at your list here. State of Confusion, Screams of the Underground, Third Offense, Alt, what? Alternatibang Musikang Filipino Dakara 90. I think I just mispronounced that completely.
yeah.
What's that album?
Alternative. No, that's supposed to be a part of the Screams from the Underground
Oh, I see.
thing,
I haven't even heard
supporting
of that
bands
one.
that when we started RMD Records, there were so many bands forming in the scene, but didn't have ways how to release their album, and we wanted to support them so they wouldn't stop playing music. So that's the main purpose of the label. It supports these guys because they're the new generation. Because we know that most of our peers back then were frustrated and didn't want to continue anymore. But the scene is still there, and the bands are still there, but they just didn't have how to release their records, and so we decided to help them. That's why we did a lot of compilation albums under RMD Records, and we didn't care what genres they're doing. RMD is not a punk label. We got death metal there. We support every kind of music that they're. I remember telling most of the kids back then, I don't care what you guys are playing. It's not just punk that we're after. We're after the
The
the energy.
yeah, the
We want to
authenticity,
capture them as
the just
yeah.
genuine feel. So would it be fair
Yeah,
to say that
they're,
would it be fair to say that did RMD happen right after TRC? Was RMD the second label of that kind in the Philippines?
yeah, I think
Wow.
so.
As I know that Middle Finger and Mutilated
It
Noise
was
and Still
a
Ill and them exist, but I'm just looking at it timeline-wise because Twisted Red Cross is 84 to 89, and then the first release on RMD is 91, so timeline-wise, it looks like RMD happened right after Twisted Red Cross.
yeah. It was an attempt to continue the scene because no one was doing anything
Wow.
anymore. So we tried to revive the scene by doing RMD Records.
Looks like you did a damn good
And
job.
yeah, he, he, most of the kids today didn't know that, but sometimes from time to time I get messages from Richard Tanya Ortiz, the drummer of Bad Omen, and he expressed his gratitude to us R&D Records for doing our stuff because it was very difficult back then at that time. But if it wasn't for RMD, the whole scene would have folded. There would be no more punk scene in the Philippines because
Yeah.
nothing is happening. We try to do fan scenes to control the scene, but it's not enough. it has to be music oriented. The music
Oh,
should exist in order for the people to have something to rally on about. So RMD Records was a very instrumental in sustaining the Philippine punk scene back then.
what fanzines did you guys put out?
And we're very proud. I remember doing the grounded punk scene. It didn't last long. Because, but there were other punks were doing their own scenes, but the trouble is it's still internationally based. The stuff you can that's were being written about is about the other scenes in other countries because but the local scene is just a few gigs from every now and then because as I tell you there was still no music to rally in about so
Wow.
fanzines
I
isn't enough. So,
the main fanzine that I know from the Philippines is
yeah,
Herald
so we are
X.
recording, so oh, that's still under the Comic and Janko. We still did
Yeah,
that, you know.
volumes 1 and
So
2 at least.
that's why I told you we were really spoiled back then. Yeah, we were featured in volume 2, I think. That's why I told you earlier that we were very spoiled back then because we didn't have Tommy Tanchapa and TRC took care of everything that has to do with the scene from organizing concerts to doing Herald X fanzine, stuff like that. We were very spoiled. So when they folded, no one, we were like rats. We didn't know what direction to take. Everyone was waiting for each other to do the next thing. No one was doing anything because we were just kids. Tommy was a bit older than us, and he had the money to back his project. We were just kids. We were kids from out of high school. We didn't have jobs or anything. We were still in school.
So it was pretty hard to. Was RMD pretty hard to make happen then?
Yeah, financially it was very hard. Plus,
Wow.
we didn't have Facebook back then,
Oh
where
yeah, I know
you
that
can
much.
uh, you can advertise. You know.
Where did you guys? I know like Private Stock and them back in the day. They played a lot of shows at schools. Where did RMD have bands play for the most part? I know there's Katrina's. What gigs were popular back in the day?
We used to talk to club club owners, you know, doping them to thinking them to we're going to have a show, but we didn't dare to say it's a punk show. We used to sugarcoat it by calling it we're going to have a new wave event in your club if it's possible. We're gonna pay for this, we're gonna pay for something in your place and everything's gonna be covered, but so and then the gig would happen and everything violence would erupt and things would get trashed
Oh shit.
and all that. Yeah, yeah, and we pay. We have to pay again for the destruction of their club.
Yeah, that happens in punk rock. Some bones get broken, some walls get destroyed, some cars get torched.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, I haven't heard the first Screams of the Underground cassette because I'm not lucky enough to find it, but I do have a copy of Screaming Mob Screams from the Underground Part 2 featuring HIV, Warlock, Death After Birth, Pulpito, Phil Vio, and Deceased. I like the artwork on this thing. It's got a Grim Reaper with a bunch of punks like underneath of him.
Yeah, because that one was it was Ray from Deceased who did that.
Oh,
He's a very
really?
good.
Yeah, I see. I recognize that now. It's definitely got the same art style to it. I would actually consider
Really good.
Screams from the Underground to be a continuation of Rescue Ladders and Human Barricades, just because of how Screams of the Underground is, or Screams from the Underground, my apologies. It definitely feels like it's a continuation of Rescue Ladders.
It wasn't in our minds to have it, because to us, Rescue is an icon of an album. Until today, I cite this as one of my very first influence in the Pinoy punk scene. If it wasn't for that album, there wouldn't be any first wave of punk rock in the local underground Filipino scene. That
Yeah.
Rescue Ladders and Human Barricades green cassette tape, that's very important. That's the album that we rallied on and on and on. And on. Those days, it's a very important release.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. And I treasure my copy of Part 2 with all that I am, and I will never get rid of it. I hope I can find the first one at some point. Is after RMD stopped going, what happened to the scene after that?
The major labels took over.
They took the punk over?
Some bands that we released, the major label were already taking over the recording scene. So we did a death metal compilation back then, and most of the bands that we had in that death metal album were picked up by the major labels as well.
So pretty much in the mid to late 90s in the Philippines, metal really started to take over then?
Well, not really metal, but the whole scene is exploding. Lots of concerts were being organized. That's when we started, Phil Vio started to tour the countryside. We were getting offers to play outside Manila already. Because we had LA 105 already, the station. It's like the second part of DZRJ, local, that did a great deal of help in the music scene. So our music were being exposed nationwide. So we're getting shows to perform, not just in Manila, but outside Manila. We were on tour all the time in the mid-90s.
Did you ever play overseas?
And for the first time, we were, no, just local.
I'm blown away by all this.
And that was a big deal for me because in the 80s, we wouldn't even think of playing a small town in Bulacan or something like that because punk rock was very, a Manila thing. We didn't think that the country folks would appreciate our kind of music, but I was wrong.
There's closet punks in many places you wouldn't expect them to be. Punk rockers who maybe don't even know they're punks yet hear it for the first time and it changes their life completely.
Yeah, and the good thing there is everywhere we play, like when we first played in Tarlac, after we do a show there, the people tells me that because of us playing in their town, after that they had their own little punk scene going since then.
Yeah.
And up to now they have their own scene because of that. So we were Pied Pipers, man. Every town that we hit back in those days, after we left, they now have their own punk scene. Kids who were forming their own bands because they saw, oh, we can do this. Because they're just like us. We didn't.
That is pure punk rock right there.
We were like That
is just that's just breathing life into the scene.
A couple of weeks ago, someone from Marinduque messaged me on Facebook. Told me, Senor, remember when you played in our town back in 1994? Yeah? After you left, we now have an every year event to honor that gathering.
Aww.
They organize a concert every Halloween because it was November when we played in their town. So now every year on Halloween they organize a big concert and one of the local bands would play.
That's fucking amazing.
To the first gig that we did in the province.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and that melted my heart.
Well, You're a hero to a lot of people. Is there anything else you would like to say?
I would just like to thank you for the review, and
Oh, of course.
I envy you because you're going back to motherland.
I'm gonna review all of your
go
albums
back,
at some point.
I don't want to go back, but thank you for getting my songs.
Of course.
You're right on the spot. I watched the review with my daughter, and she enjoyed it too.
Well, tell her
She
thank
was laughing from time to time because of you. Yeah, but my daughter is not into the music that I am, but the fact that you hold her attention throughout the review, that means you're a very good man. She enjoyed it, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
She sat with me here, and we watched the.
I really appreciate that.
You're funny and very intellectual.
Thank you.
And she thought you were a close friend of mine. I told her, no, I don't even know you.
Well, tell her I said thank you. I really appreciate the compliments.
So continue what you.
I will probably do a review of The Third Offense next, because that's the only other album by you I own. But yeah, when I collect them, I will review all Philippine Violator albums. I own, like I said, I own At Large, Third Offense. I'm supposed to be getting a copy of State of Confusion soon, but I haven't heard back from the person trying to sell it to me. But I'm going to try to collect all of the albums by your band, because I love Philippine Violators and I need them all.
It's very hard,
Oh yes, I am.
Sometimes when I email someone, ask for a copy, and they discover that I don't even have one, they will just not answer back.
You don't have a? Do you have a copy of At Large?
I own an original cassette tape somewhere in my file. I think, but I don't have the cover anymore.
But seriously, thank you so much for this interview. I learned quite a lot from talking to you for an hour, and it's truly an honor to meet you over this.
Alright. Tupan, I would like to give you a Bon Voyage present, my friend. Here is the most rarest Phil Vio album ever released, and please don't pass it to your friends yet. There's a link to the Live at Seagull release that I did. Yeah, there I just sent it. Enjoy it, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I just want to thank you for the good review, and thanks for appreciating our music, my music in particular, and
of course. And I'll make sure to send you my reviews of your later albums.
Alright, then I'll let you go now. So
yeah. Have a good morning,
have a nice
Senor.
day. Anarka.